Peace and love, y'all. Peace and love. I hope everybody's having a positive day, speaking life into themselves through positive thoughts and positive affirmations. Understanding that the law of attraction works, whereas whatever energy you bring into this world, the same energy you're gonna get right back out of the world. So, if you want to manifest a positive day for yourself, a positive week, positive year, positive month, you have to make sure that once you have that thought manifested in your head, you have to physically go into this world that we're in right now and make sure that whatever you do always correlates back to the thought that you have manifested for yourself. So, with that being said, y'all, let's talk about depression. Now, the reason I want to talk about depression is because depression is one thing that everybody goes through. It's not anything that somebody is, immune to, because no matter how much money you have, no matter how much championships you have, no matter how much records you sell, no matter how much fame or publicity you have, you can get depressed. You feel me? It just takes the right situation to trigger that depression within you. Now, the reason why I want to bring up talk about depression also is because I feel as though, because we all go through it, there's a lot of things that we can talk about as a community to really help each other out. Because I noticed that I still struggle sometimes, but I feel like I get told that I'm very good at it. So, I try to just, work with what I got and just hopes that, it reaches more people and they understand what I'm saying. Is that I love to vocalize how I feel, and I love to really just get it out. Most people can't really, I would say fathom, but they can't really gather the words to describe how they feel. They just know how they feel, but they can't describe it in words. And so, with a platform like this, I feel like it's very important that as we talk about stuff like depression, we also talk about how we can, decrease, thoughts of suicide, how we can, and how we can promote more positive thinking, more encouragement, and just, being able to assist somebody when they need, some support. So, today, as I woke up, I was feeling very sluggish, and it wasn't the kind of sluggish where, like, you still get up, you go outside, you do what you got to do. It was one of those sluggish moods where I'm laying down in the bed and I just couldn't find any motivation to get up at all. Like, there was nothing that came to mind that motivated me to get up at all. And I'm laying there, I'm just like, it's a very bad feeling to have, because in the world we live in, like, in this day and age, there's so much shit to do that when you have nothing to do, it would be different if, like, it was like 1 day, 2 days. What I feel like what really got to me was just the fact that I'm so used to the routine. Like, ever since COVID happened and things got closed and shut down, and just like shit of that nature, I realized that I went through a series of daily routines, and it switched up, because at one point, I was driving, and then I was driving around the place. Then at another point, I started just like staying in the house and started doing a lot of writing. At another point, I started going outside more, just trying to live more in the moment. And overall, like, I just became very tired of all the routines that I created. You feel me? But I just couldn't understand what could I have done to not make myself feel like that. You feel me? And as I'm laying there, I'm like, okay, this brought me back to a time in 2018 when I felt like when I was actually like depressed. And basically for me, 2018 was one of my most challenging years. And it was most challenging for me because in February I got fired from my job at construction. Basically, I was doing what I wanted to do. I was going to work wherever I wanted to work at, clocking into work whenever I want, clocking out whenever. You feel me? Just shit like that. And I thought I was invincible. I thought I was just somebody who just couldn't get reprimanded. I thought I could just get off the hook. I didn't really think shit was that, like, really that serious. Fast forward to like February of 2018. Like I was like the ending of February. I got fired, and at first it didn't really hit me. You know, I thought it was just kind of a comedic thing, cause my boss when he first called me, he was very very calm, and then probably like a minute or two into the conversation, he just blacked. Like he just started going ballistic. I was like, what the fuck? So for me, it's like funny, but like over time, I began to see like it wasn't really that funny. Like yes, it happened. Like I could joke about it like now because it happened, but during that time, it definitely just was not funny at all. And I thought it was funny because I was trying to deflect from the fact that I need to get my shit together, and I need to just stop thinking everything is a joke, and I gotta stop doing what I want to do. You feel me? Um. Also in 2018, I had to cut ties with my best friend during the time and my ex during the time. And long story short, you know, with my ex, it just became a thing of, you know, we're too far in a relationship for certain things to not have been changed. You feel me? And I'm already working on myself as an individual. I can't be working overtime, double overtime, trying to keep the relationship up here. You feel me? I'm doing all of this working, and you know, that the same energy isn't being kept on the opposite side. And in regards to my female best friend during the time, you know, it just became a thing of after high school. You know, you just really saw how caring people were. You feel me? And just certain people just didn't care to reach out, or certain people just didn't care to, you know, like fix a friendship that shouldn't have been damaged in the first place. So, you know, it's just shit like that. But now, looking back on it, you feel me? Of course, I have different thoughts, but during that time, it put me in a very depressed state of mind because those were two people who I went to whenever my life went to shambles. Like whenever shit was going crazy for me in life, whenever shit was getting crazy at home, or I had another group of friends who was moving funny, whatever the case may be. Those would be the two people who I first go to. And when I had to cut them off, that made me very depressed because I had nobody to talk to. I was just basically talking to myself at that point because it's very hard when you have so much on your mind and you have nobody to tell it to. You feel me? Because it's like in your head, of course you know what you think, but you don't know how crazy something sounds or how good something might sound until you talk to another person. And you need like a trustworthy person who's not going to be a yes man, who won't just be, you know, a kiss ass and just let you do whatever. So for me, it was very challenging because I got fired, and on top of me getting fired, I was in the house all day. I didn't feel motivated to do anything, and I felt like a waste. I felt like a scrub. I felt like a bum. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's how I viewed myself during that time. Because after I got fired, it was very hard to apply to jobs. I applied to over 80 something jobs on Indeed, and none of them replied. It wasn't until I had to go to a company website for them until I got an actual like interview and then hired. But just the phase of applying to jobs, and I'm watching everybody come in and out the house, still living their daily life. They got places to go, they got places to be at. And I'm waking up every day and I'm just like, yo, I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to be. I have nobody to meet. I have nothing to do. And it takes a toll on you. As a young man, one of the worst things you can have happen to you is to feel like you're not doing shit. You feel me? Because it takes a toll on you. Because especially as a young man growing up, you want to be stable and secure in your finances and in your living environment more than anything. And you would never want that to be in the hands of another person at all. And that's how I felt. I feel like my life was basically in other people's hands because I didn't have control over myself and what I wanted to do. You get what I'm saying? I was waking up, didn't even know what I wanted to do. I didn't even, I was barely going outside. I wasn't even going for walks. I was just staying in the space that was oppressing me so much. You feel me? Because I was in it and not doing anything. So it wasn't really stimulating enough for my mind. And one thing I realized was that as I'm depressed, what made me fall deeper into depression was when I chose to acknowledge what was making me depressed and do nothing about it. Because at a certain point, I acknowledged what was making me depressed. I acknowledged what was bringing me down, but I chose to ignore it. I chose to. I instead sat to think that I instead chose the path where, I'm like, you know what? I know it's bothering me, but I feel like things are gonna get better. I feel like everything's gonna go okay. I just have to just have hope, have faith, and it's just gonna come to me. But that threw me into a worse state of depression, and it got so bad. My first spliff was my sophomore year of high school. I didn't really start smoking like weed until after I graduated high school. It got so crazy, like I never smoked so much weed in the course of a week in my whole life. And that week that I did that, that's when I knew something was wrong with me, because that was never me. I was never a person to smoke my way out of a situation, smoke my way out of depression, smoke my way out of realizing I gotta get my shit together. You feel me? So on top of that, it's very hard to look at everybody around you and to keep yourself in good spirits, because oftentimes when nothing is going right for you but everybody around you is doing good, it's very hard to keep yourself motivated in certain senses, because you feel like you're not doing enough, or you're not putting in a certain amount of work that would get you noticed. It could be anything. It could be anything. And it just really it really took for me to really get off my ass, go outside, do some reflecting, do some healing, and really see that I was the problem and the reason why I was depressed in the first place. I caused my depression just simply due to the fact that the people I was around, I chose to be around them, even though I knew for a minute they weren't good for me, but I still chose to keep them around me because of nostalgic purposes, for just memories and shit like that. And then with my job, you feel me? One thing I noticed is like, yo, you gotta be on your shit. You may not like what this person say. He may say do a job that you might not think is reasonable, but at the end of the day, you chose that fucking job. You can't just decide that you don't want to do a job because you think it's unjust, but you chose to sign up for the job in the first place. So for me, it was like the job wasn't anything unbearable. It was just something that I felt like I just didn't want to do. And I felt entitled to that, you feel me? And that was my problem right there. I felt too entitled. And, that also played a huge part into depression, because entitlement can make you feel as though you're entitled to a certain experience in your lifetime. You're entitled to feel that when you're feeling a certain way, somebody has to do something to make you feel better. Someone has to do something to cheer you up. When in all reality, you are the only person who's responsible for cheering yourself up. You can't expect for anybody, no matter how significant other, mom, dad, cousin, brother, auntie, you cannot expect them to come to your aid to basically just give you an abundance of happiness because you feel a certain way. If you feel depressed, you have to acknowledge whatever it is that's making you depressed. Because if you don't, you're going to keep sitting in it and you're going to keep making it fuck over your head. It's going to keep fucking with your head. And then before you know it, you might be taking pills. You might start going heavy on drugs. You might overdose. Potential suicide. It can lead to too many things. You could fuck up your life, lose your job, fuck up relationships. It can be a wide variety of so many different outcomes that can come from not fixing yourself when you are depressed. And this stages to depression. Depression isn't just, you feel me, when you feel sad about something, you're down about something, and you can't figure out what it is, and now you just keep you're sad and you're just crying. Some people are so depressed, they love the feeling of being depressed. And it sounds crazy, but it's so true. It's like when you're depressed, there's everything to complain about. There's everything to talk about. Everything. From the way the world is, to the way your parents treat you, to the way how hard you gotta work. But it's a different thing to look at yourself and be like, you know what? I understand the world is like this, and I understand there's gonna be people in my life who's gonna try to fuck me over, who's gonna try to place roadblocks in front of me and try to divert me away from my goal. But as long as I have in myself the confidence to wake up every day and to push myself to do more and more, and in hopes that I'm gonna eventually come out of this slump that I'm in, that's what it takes. Because you can't, like I said, you can't expect somebody to come to you every single day, like, oh, how you feeling? What can I do? What can I do? It's not gonna work like that. Because I honestly, like, you can describe how you feel as best as you can, but no one truly knows how you feel except for you. So the only person who can really fix how you feel is you. It's only you. People can't help you with that. They can give you advice. They can give you a sense of happiness, love, abundance of joy, but they cannot fix your situation. They just can't do that. And today, one thing I realized after being in bed was, I'm like, yo, once I had that thought of 2018, I shook my head. I'm like this. I'm like, no, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Cause I've been there before, and I knew exactly where it took me when I let myself stay there. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. Got my ass up, hopped in the shower, make sure I got like a nice cleanse. I'm like, I'm about to go to the park. You feel me? Just get a new scenery, just get some nature in my eye, just smell some nature, just get a whole new different type of peaceful environment. Sometimes what it is you're in an environment so much, you can't really think sometimes. Sometimes you gotta just leave your environment and then come back to the home base and then report on what you experienced. You feel me? So for me today, guys, like, one thing I did to handle my depression when I was briefly experiencing that feeling was I realized, like, look, if I lay down right now and I continue to lay here and not do shit, I'm gonna be depressed this whole fucking day, and I don't know how long it's gonna last. And that's the worst part. You don't know how long it's gonna last. So as soon as you feel it, you gotta get on that shit ASAP. Fucking sap. Or else that shit is gonna catch up to you and it's gonna fuck you over in the end. But for me, one thing I did was I went to the park, and I feel like going to the park, it helps clears my mind because the park is a very peaceful setting. Everyone's doing their own thing. The most annoying thing is just like the bugs. The heat can be unbearable depending on how you are when it comes to sunlight and warm temperature. But overall, the park was very peaceful. You feel me? It's a part of nature. Nature is very calm. It's very soothing. It's very natural and pure and calm. How I want to be. I want to be pure and calm. I had a book with me. I was reading my book while I was there. I was really just clearing my head, just trying to get back into the reality of what I have to do. Because like I said before, when you're depressed, it's easy to think about everything going fucking wrong. Everything when you're depressed is going wrong. Everything. But when you acknowledge that everything is going wrong, but you're still gonna do what you have to do as a person to get your shit together, then that's how you're gonna get out in the future. And that's what helped me. I was like, fuck this. If I have to work, if I have to go by myself, I'm going by myself. I don't need somebody to go with me to fix my mood. I'm in charge of that shit. I'm the pilot of my own fucking life. I literally walked a good 40 minutes to the park, and I sat there and I was chilling, read my book, and then I got up and I left when it was time to go back home, and that helped me. And Draco, shout out to you, my boy. My homeboy, me and him had a talk, and he's very inspirational when we talk because he always helped remind me of the mission at hand, and just the fact that no matter how much you know, no matter how much work you're putting in, there's gonna be times where you're gonna feel like you're not doing enough. There's gonna be times where you get like depression might sneak up on you, but you gotta be on top of that shit. You gotta be on top of it. Because if you're not on top of it, that shit is gonna literally consume you. Once depression consumes you, it's GG from there. Cause like I said, you don't know how long it's gonna go on. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know how it's gonna make you feel, what it might trigger. It's so much shit that could come into play with shit like that. And he was just helping. He also was just reminding me that when you're in an environment for so long, it's hard to really execute what you want to execute, because you're in the space that's damaging. Not, I wouldn't say damaging, but you're in the space that's having the most pressure on you. And when you're in a space like that for too long, the pressure sometimes become unbearable and you forget to relax. You forget to enjoy yourself. You forget to live in the moment and just remember that, yes, you have to work towards certain things in life, but you also have to just sit back, relax, and, regroup, recalculate whatever you want to do with your life, whatever you want to do with your current mission, and then might do revisions or whatever the case may be. But overall, there's nothing wrong with, leaving your environment and then coming back to it later on to reflect. You feel me? Because like I said, like, once you're in that environment, it's very hard to gather certain thoughts. It's very hard to, because once you're used to a certain daily routine, or once you're used to like for example, like my room, for example, I'm used to waking up and seeing this shit every day. So like I have my desk right here, I have my TV, I got my bed, and I don't even get motivated to even fix my bed in the morning sometimes. I really have to tell myself, like, this is gonna model your day. By you taking the time out of your day to fix up your bed, that's gonna set the precedent for how your day is gonna go. Meaning you're gonna be well prepared, you're gonna make sure you look presentable, you're gonna make sure that your mind is clear, your mind is, where it should be, and that you have control of your thoughts. Because another leading cause of depression is when you're not in control of your own thoughts, and your thoughts are just running rampant, just going from topic to topic, and you don't even know how the fuck you even thought about how like 10 topics even came in your head in the first place. You feel me? So one thing that's what helped me, going outside, just being in touch with nature and reading my book, and just remembering, like, yo, I'm in charge of this shit. If I would have laid in my bed longer than I needed to, I probably would have been laying there still right now, depressed, on my phone, in social media, doing unproductive shit. But instead, I got off my ass. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to go to the park. I'm about to go read this book, get some knowledge, and just get a whole new environment, because I can't expect to execute my goal, execute my plan, and I can't work because my environment isn't stimulating enough, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with, and Draco brought up this very, very good point. He said you don't have to win it's not about winning every battle, but it's about winning the war. Now, certain battles you're gonna lose, and it's not like you're gonna lose it to lose everything. You feel me? You cannot win everything. That's not how life is. Life isn't just win, 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 win. You gotta take L's so you know how to remain noble, and how you just know how to how to work through those emotions. You feel me? And there's nothing wrong with going away from your environment and to take some time away to really just recuperate and regroup with yourself, and then come back to really just deliver the final blow, to really just do what you got to do. Because that's sometimes what you need. Sometimes is to really just get away. You need a new environment. You need some new friends, new group of people around you. Fix up your room. Draco's giving me a lot of good advice. I can't remember everything off the top of my head right now, but he was giving me a lot of great advice. You could change up your room, because your room is something that you wake up to every day and you got to see, you got to come home to. And just remember that you don't have to win everything. You feel me? As much as you want to learn, as much as you feel like, you want to chill, do not allow yourself to marinate in depression, because you may think you're just chilling you may think that you're just relaxing, just to let depression drive on by. But depression won't just go that easily. Depression is something that won't go away until you literally address what's wrong with you. And that's how it is. So with that being said, y'all, I hope this video helps somebody who's going through depression, who was possibly feeling something that I also felt today. And hopefully I gave somebody some good advice. I gave you guys some good wisdom, a good thought to have. And I just hope that, we could just, if there are any questions, you could also DM me and anything. You feel me? I'm just here to really just network out with more people like me, and just really get people to understand that they're not fighting this battle alone. And I'm willing to help anybody who's going through depression. You feel me? But you have to be willing to help yourself first. And with that being said, I love y'all. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.